shit does not make sense. It sounds like a horror movie, and it's just crazy. I need to visit this place, really. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to a new episode of Country Spooks. If you guys are new to my channel, my name is Erica, and I make a lot of videos about paranormal and creepy things. And if you guys are new to my series, this series I focus on talking about all the different paranormal, creepy urban legends countrywide, and I focus on each individual state. And today's video is going to be all about California. Now, California is one of those states where I feel like anything is possible, clearly, because, you know, Hollywood, and just that concept that, you know, there's so much going on in California. So when I decided to do California, I really had a hard time kind of like finding something that was not only super interesting, but also worth talking about and not already discussed, because I feel like since California is so popular for, you know, being California and being one of the biggest states in the country and, you know, basically home to all celebrities, because it's so popular, it's hard to talk about ghost things and just creepy events and stuff that hasn't already been discussed. And by no means is that my goal, to find something that like is so unique and never talked about. But I wanted to find something that, you know, even if it is talked about, I could bring something new to the table and just further discuss it. And honestly, after long hours of research, I found the thing I want to talk about. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Turnbull Canyon in California. So the Turnbull Canyons are located in Puente Hills, California, and it's basically home to like the best place to go hiking. There's so many outdoor activities. It's beautiful, people say, and I've seen pictures, and it really is a nice place. And it's very quote-unquote family friendly, which is so crazy to think about the history and just all of the crazy shit that went down there and still is going down there today. This is the most monumental place in Puente Hills, California. I don't know much about California because clearly I'm not from there. But from what I heard, this is like their spot. And it's funny because the locals either love it or hate it. There's no in between, which I think is crazy. I think if a place could really impact the people who live there that significantly to where they either fuck with it or they don't, it goes to show that there's something like sketchy going on there, and this place is the definition of sketch. Also, I'd like to say that if you didn't believe in the paranormal before hearing about this, I don't know how you don't believe in it after it, because literally, I'm not saying this confirms anything, because there's very little evidence, but like the stories that I'm about to tell you, if there is any truth to them, I don't know how you can't believe it, because I'm literally shook. So the main reason why this place is considered to be super haunted is more so about the history of the place and all the very terrible and horrific and evil events that occurred there, starting all the way back to colonization. Before I actually start talking about some of the stories, like more of the recent things that's gone on there, I just do want to give you guys a brief little, you know, history lesson, because it's very important to consider some of the events that are going on now, because they connect to the past, just like most things in life. So centuries ago, a local tribe, and I'll have like the name of the tribe somewhere on the screen because I can't pronounce it, basically lived near the canyon, and they absolutely refused to go anywhere near it. They actually called it the Hatukna, and that means the dark place, which is kind of ironic if you think about it, because the canyon is beautiful and it's bright and sunny, but the local natives were like not fucking with it. They didn't like it. They were deathly afraid of it, like actually terrified of it. And there's really no reason why, but they just felt like there was an evil presence in the canyon, and so they as a tribe decided to stay far clear from it. But unfortunately, as you guys know how history works, colonization happened, and you know, the Spaniards came and tried to convert them to Christianity. And one of the ways that they did this to this particular tribe was by forcing them into the canyon and essentially conquering their fears, is what they called it, and as a way to get them to kind of like give over to Christianity. First of all, I just want to say that this was like the Spaniards' explanation. This is obviously bullshit, but their excuse was that if they bring these native people to the canyon, which is literally the tribe's biggest fear, then they would feel grateful, and also they would have conquered their fear, and that would make them more likely to believe in a god and to want to basically convert to Christianity. So that was their excuse. Honestly, if you ask me, it was just a way to exterminate a bunch of people. But besides the point, that was the reasoning, and as you guys could probably tell, the opposite happened. A lot of the natives would not give up their spirituality, their beliefs to convert to Christianity, and that definitely did lead to a lot of deaths. And people today even say that sometimes when they're walking around in that area, they can hear the cries, and they believe that those cries are coming from natives. A lot of hikers report actually having experiences with some of these natives near the water tower, which is in the canyon, and they believe that that's why they have the experience there, because that's where majority of them were killed. And so if that's not crazy enough, if that foundation isn't just wild enough, let's flash forward to the Great Depression. This is where it gets crazy. I'm sure you guys know what the Great Depression was. It was one of the biggest economic falls in our country. People were going hungry. People were dying from diseases or lack of food. It was hard to pay bills. It was a hot mess for America. And during this time, a lot of people, levitated toward the canyon because obviously there's water and there's a chance to find food or, shelter or whatever. However, this was also the time of the rise of the cults. Now, there's really not too much solid proof other than hearsay, but locals say that there were cults being held in the canyon. And there's even this crazy story, which I'm going to get into right now, but it's just, oh, it's so crazy. So locals say that there was a group of men and women wearing long black robes that would perform creepy and strange rituals every single night. And because these locals were so afraid of, obviously hearing the stories about the canyon, but also seeing these strange people walking in the middle of the night, they never did anything. They never, approached these people or try to, ask them what the fuck they were doing. One night, they actually, physically saw people in the white robes kidnap a young boy. He must have been about 12 years old. And they basically hung him or, chained him to an actual, cross type of thing, and they started dancing in a circle around him and saying these crazy ritualistic things in a different language. Nobody understood what they were saying, but after that happened, they stopped in their tracks, just stopped, stared at the boy, flipped the cross over, and they beat him to death. Essentially, that is what people say that they saw. They beat him to death, and then they basically just threw him off to the side. Nobody found him. Nobody really even knew he was missing until later on, which is just mind-blowing. But the story ends with basically the people who saw it went back to the town, went back to the actual town, and they reported what they saw. And when the cops came out to go look for the child or for the people, everybody was gone. Everything was absolutely gone. The evidence was there was no evidence, and that was that. That kind of leads into the idea that people who go hiking there or spend time with their friends or family there say that sometimes they hear children laughing or children running when there are no children in sight, and people believe that those kids that they're hearing are actual victims of the cults, because that wasn't the only incident. That was just the one marked incident that somebody actually caught evidence of, but they believe that this cult was going after children, and that is just, oh, that's so scary. I swear to God, this canyon is just insane to me, all the shit that happened here, because literally a couple years later, they opened an asylum. What? So they had an asylum in the canyon, and that was where, local people went to get treated or whatever, and it was supposed to be a sanctuary for people who didn't have the resources, because this was in the 1930s, so asylums were kind of common, but also not super common for everyone to have access to. Anyway, they built an asylum in the canyon. I'm sure that whoever built it had good intentions, but the location is just kind of off, so obviously everything went south. Unfortunately, there isn't any documentation on what actually happened in the asylum when it was up and running, but we could assume the worst, because literally it was only running for 10 years, and then it mysteriously burned down. Nobody knows why. Nobody even knows how, which is so crazy. And it was abandoned. They literally, the asylum was burnt and abandoned. This shit does not make sense. It sounds like a horror movie, and it's just crazy. I need to visit this place, really. So in the 1960s, a group of teenage boys were just walking around in the canyon, and they came across the asylum, which, like I said, was abandoned. And like teenagers, something that I would do, probably still would do, they went to explore. And according to the witnesses, they said that it literally just looked like a very dingy and grimy, abandoned place. Creepy. And I know that sounds pretty obvious, but think about it. This place burnt down, and nobody came back to clean it up. Nobody came back to fix it up or do anything. So that just to me says that there was something really fucked about this place, because everyone just kind of abandoned it and just left. Anyway, they were walking through the asylum, and one of the boys actually found old electric shock treatment equipment, and I actually don't know what it's called, but it's basically for like electric shock therapy, and they were just messing around with it, and he put it on his head, and like jokingly he was just like, oh my god, I'm burning, and like they were all laughing and stuff, until he actually started fucking burning. So after he said that, the actual helmet was like on and basically frying him and killing him. They say that he died in literally a couple seconds, but it must have been like a miserable death, and that is just so crazy. And the craziest part about that is that obviously there was no electricity in this fucking place because it was shut down and abandoned. So how the fuck did that happen? Either way, crazy. Now that's pretty much it for like, you know, the Cannon's history, and like I said, it's a very loaded place. I'm sure that there's more, but there's really nothing accounted for. People have said that they spotted UFOs, people have said that they spotted extraterrestrial life and things and aliens, and just, I don't know if I necessarily believe any of that because I haven't found any evidence or any like claims that this is true. It just, to me, it just seems very hearsay. But it's not shocking. Like I said, there are other like paranormal experiences that people have in these places, like they hear a child's laughter. Sometimes they see things like from the corner of their eye walking by, they hear crying, and that is just insane. Now my thing about this is, why would I want to go there? Why would I want to hike knowing that this place is crazy fucking haunted? Not because I'm necessarily afraid of the paranormal, because I'm not. More so, they could easily push me to my fucking death, and then I would be gone. There'd be no more Erica, there'd be no more Country Spooks, and that would be a sad day. But I don't know, I just think that Turnbull Cannon is just probably the craziest place that I've read or like taught myself about so far. I don't know. If you guys are planning on going there, be safe about it. Don't be stupid. Don't try on old equipment because you never know if it's gonna like kill you or not. But yeah guys, that's it for this week's Country Spooks. I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys did, give it a big thumbs up to support me. Also, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Turnbull Cannon, sorry. And also, let me know what state I should do next, because as I said, you guys choose the state that I do every single week. And yeah. Also, if you guys like this series, feel free to hit the subscribe button and become a member of the Ghosty fam. Also, click on my notification to become a member of the notification squad so you guys are notified when more videos from me are uploaded. Again, I hope you guys like this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.